and welcome to the Lifestyle Refresh Podcast. I'm Stephanie, and I'm so excited to have you here. This is a space where we explore what it really means to live a balanced, healthy, and fulfilled life through fitness, mindfulness, resilience, and everything in between. I created this podcast to share with you my journey, all the ups and downs, and the lessons I've learned along the way. My hope is that it inspires you to show up for yourself no matter where you're starting from. Each episode will dive into topics that will help you refresh your mindset, habits, and lifestyle so that you can step into the best version of yourself. I'm so glad you're here to join me on this journey. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lifestyle Refresh Podcast. So, I don't know if I'm alone in feeling this way. And I feel like after saying that sentence out loud, alone, already tells me I'm not. Because usually, when something keeps coming back to my mind, when I can't shake a thought, it's because it's something a lot of us are quietly carrying. And lately, I've been thinking a lot about exhaustion. And not the I didn't sleep well last night kind, but the kind of tired that feels like it lives in your body. The kind where you wake up already feeling behind, already reaching for the coffee before you even know how you feel. And somewhere along the way, we just accept that this is adulthood. But I had this moment recently where I asked myself, is this actually normal or is it just common? I didn't just wake up one day addicted to caffeine. It didn't feel like a dramatic addiction that had occurred, and it didn't even feel concerning for that matter. Coffee started like it usually does as comfort, something warm, something grounding. Then it became a routine. Then it became something I needed to feel human. And eventually, that wasn't even enough. So, energy drinks entered the picture. And not everyone might have that problem with energy drinks, too. It might just be coffee. And for myself, at first, I told if you do struggle with energy drinks, I'm sure it was the same. At first, I told myself it was temporary, just busy seasons, just motherhood, just life. But what started as support slowly became a crutch. And then it became something I didn't even question at all. It became second nature, just part of that route, built in to that routine. That even the routine and habit of stopping to get it was so built in itself. And not a lot of people around question it either because everyone else is doing it too, and everyone else is exhausted and tired too. But for me, there came a point where caffeine stopped doing what it was supposed to do. It wasn't energizing me anymore. It wasn't giving me clarity. It wasn't helping me feel focused or motivated. It was just keeping me afloat. I felt wired and exhausted at the same time, anxious. but foggy, restless, but depleted. And that's a really confusing place to be because on paper, you're doing everything right. You're showing up, you're being productive, you're functioning. But internally, something felt off. I wasn't drinking caffeine to feel good anymore. I was drinking it so I wouldn't crash. Literally, just to keep myself going. I almost felt like I just was in this constant state of trying to keep my head above water. Like it wasn't even about getting energy from the caffeine anymore. It was like keeping myself functioning at a normal rate. And that's when I realized that this isn't energy, this is dependency. And it's interesting because we have conversations about addiction, but only certain kinds: alcohol, drugs, sugar. But caffeine, she always gets a free pass because she looks responsible, looks productive. It looks like being an adult who has their life together, right? But I just had this conversation with my therapist, and so it can be used in many different ways. Just because something is socially acceptable and maybe comes off as normal doesn't mean it's harmless. And I think so many people are walking around overstimulated, anxious, inflamed, exhausted without ever realizing that caffeine is quietly contributing to that. And I think a lot of times we have normalized to turn that blame inward. Like there's something wrong with me. Why can't I handle this? Why am I so tired? What is wrong with me? Maybe nothing's wrong with you at all. Maybe it's that we're doing so much in this world and caffeine was there as a support, but so quickly got overused and overabused. And we weren't really learning and knowing the tools and ways to counter support our bodies to handle all of this outside stress and now internal caffeine stress on our body. But there's nothing wrong with you. It's not, we shouldn't be shifting that blame inward. And we should look at the tool we're using, the way we're using it. Is it sustainable? Is it helpful? For me, this realization didn't start in my head, it started in my body. My stomach issues literally forced me to slow down in a way I hadn't before. So I started pulling back on coffee. I switched to a mushroom based coffee for a while, and honestly, I loved it. I really liked that. I had that morning, I would French press it, and I did that for a year or two because I just like something warm, especially in the winter times. I've honestly learned to embrace a warm beverage every morning, waking up to start my day in this last year, last 6 or so months. So that's huge. But going back to then, even switching out that coffee and that caffeine and that regular caffeine intake to a mushroom coffee, I still was having energy drinks daily, like one or two. So even though it was like a stepping stone, I thought I was making better choices, and I was, But I honestly still was relying on a stimulation to help me get through the day. And then it wasn't until my fast and my elimination diet back in April where I finally quit energy drinks cold turkey. And that's when everything kind of became very clear to me. And I want to pause here for a second because this feels really important. At this point, it wasn't about willpower anymore. It wasn't about discipline. And it definitely wasn't about me needing to try harder by any means. It was about listening. I realized I had been overriding my body's signals for a long time, masking fatigue with caffeine, masking stress with stimulation, masking depletion with another boost. And when I finally took those layers away, even just a little bit, it became very clear how much my body had been carrying for me. There was this moment where I thought, wow, I really have been asking my body to perform instead of me supporting it. And I think so many of us are doing that without realizing it. We don't slow down because we're afraid of what we'll feel when we do. But slowing down is often where the truth shows up. That space, that discomfort, is what led me into the next phase of this journey. Quitting energy drinks was hard. And I had a feeling it was going to be hard, but I don't think people talk enough about that. The headaches were intense. The fatigue was very overwhelming. And the brain fog was real, especially coming from someone who had felt like they had gained a lot of like clarity and I felt so sucked back and pulled back after cutting this out and the withdrawal alone from this. And in that discomfort, something clicked for me. This isn't withdrawal. This isn't just habit. This isn't just preference. This is my nervous system fully recalibrating. And instead of judging myself, I felt some compassion. My body wasn't failing me, it was talking to me, it was asking for support. And I want to be really clear here. This isn't about cutting caffeine completely, it's about intention. Now I use natural fizz drinks from my Arbonne company. It's a gentle caffeine that supports instead of spikes. And then sometimes I'll just have I've been loving my protein cold brew. So I've been on a huge cold brew kick. So I'll fill my protein shaker half with water, half with cold brew, and I'll do my protein powder. And that's pretty much what I've been having for caffeine every day for the last few months. And that's it. And let me tell you, I feel great. It's been a work in progress through it all, but I have no crashes, no anxiety, no constant push too. For the first time in a long time, I actually feel sustained. I don't feel like I'm borrowing energy from tomorrow anymore. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. I feel like a normal person again, as simply as that. But I think there's a bigger conversation to be had here. I think we really need to start asking different questions. we shouldn't be directing it to not like how much caffeine are you drinking, but how about why? Why do you need it? And if you're exhausted all the time, it doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're unmotivated either. It might mean your body is overstimulated and undernourished. Because that's what I found for myself. Sometimes the answer isn't more caffeine, it's rest, nourishment, boundaries, and some gentler support. And if this episode made you a little uncomfortable, that's okay. I know we all love our caffeine, and this can be a tough one to face because it has been so normalized. But discomfort is often awareness knocking. And let me tell you, you don't have to quit everything tomorrow. And even when you're ready, you don't have to do it perfectly. But even pulling back a little, even paying attention, can change more than you realize. You deserve that energy that comes from being supported, not from running on empty. Thank you for being here. And if this resonated, share it with someone who might need permission to rethink their normal. And if you did make it through this episode, I just want to say thank you. Not for listening, but for being willing to reflect a little. These conversations aren't always comfortable. I know that, but they are necessary. And awareness alone can be incredibly powerful. My hope with this episode isn't that you change everything overnight, like I said. It's just that you start paying attention a little bit more with a little compassion as well. You're not weak for feeling exhausted, and you're also not broken for needing better support. And sometimes the most loving thing we can do for ourselves is question the things we've been told are normal. I know that might seem controversial, but it's true. Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's good for us. But until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and keep choosing support over survival. I'll talk to you soon.